Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now, 865-243-TALK. That's 243-8255. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Reaching back into the early 90s for the intro music this week. This is the Patrick Riggins Show. Here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network, your one-stop source for analysis of the issues from the standpoint of American freedom and liberty. Not liberal freedom and liberty, not conservative freedom and liberty, but American freedom and liberty. Helping to spread the word far and wide is the 100,000-watt radio station right here in Knoxville, Tennessee, WNOX FM 100.3. We are reaching 5 southeastern states and 2 time zones with our message of freedom. But you don't have to rely on just this station. The Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network is growing far and wide as the more radio stations sign on to its message of original American thinking, that of freedom and liberty, and a severe lack of governmental intrusion. We are also on the internet if you'd rather tune in there. Just go to the radio station's website at www.wnoxfm.com. There you can watch and listen to the video and audio simulcast of this show, courtesy of the in-studio webcam here at the luxurious and well-appointed studios of WNOX. That would be Tori. That website address again for the simulcast is wnoxfm.com. And as you saw peeking into the webcam, that was Tori, the Sunday Show's studio producer.
What's up?
Enjoying the Arby's today. Usually I bring him Wendy's, and brought him an Arby's, and it's a happy camper.
Yeah, bless his heart, Patrick always brings me in a little sandwich. I've been here since, 11, and...
Get a little hungry.
Yeah. Thank you. It's always good.
So, band had a gig Friday?
Yeah, we played down... Excuse me, that's the Arby's. We played down at Union Place in the Old City. Didn't really have a great turnout, but I mean the club is a really nice place. It's brand new, so it's really cool. But you know, for the few that did come out, thank you.
And you have another one coming up, correct?
Yeah, with the Beat Club, which is formerly the Invaders. It's now the Beat Club. We are playing at the Crown and Goose St. Patrick's Day weekend. We'll be playing there Saturday night from like 9 till probably close, 9 till 2. And Sunday, St. Patrick's Day, we're going on at 6 till 9:30 at the Crown and Goose.
And the Beat Club is the British
Invasion tribute, yes. Which we do all kinds of British stuff. And some American stuff too, but mostly Rolling Stones, Beatles, the Kinks.
So if you've seen Tori on the webcam or heard him on, I guess, just about every Sunday afternoon show, you can actually see him live now on stage beating on drums.
Yes.
Okay.
Doing that, and I'm a little more comfortable doing that.
Oh, you do very well here on the radio.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again to everyone for tuning in this week. You are listening to the fastest growing show of its kind on the radio dial. It's none other than the Patrick Riggins Show. We are providing the ratings jump for the station during this hour. You can actually see the ratings leap from the 2 to 3 p.m. on Sunday afternoons. And personally, I'm convinced it's because the audience that listens to this show realizes what they are hearing. They're getting analysis they are not going to get anywhere else. They're listening to one of the best radio shows in this country today on the best network in this country today. And they can see Tori jump. That network you're listening to, as I mentioned before, would be none other than the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. We're providing a beacon to those looking for less government and more individual freedom. You know, like we used to have in this country before we had a bunch of busybodies in government wanting to run everyone's lives. Real quickly, what we got? Oh, we got a couple minutes. Real quickly in this first segment, I'd like to mention, I was thinking this week of a good example of the oversupply of the monetary system, and that's what we're having, and a lot of people have kind of a hard time getting their heads around what's going on. But here's a good way you can think about it. What's really happening is, of course, we have too many dollars being printed and circulated, and a good not corollary, but a good example of this would be what happens if you have a frequent flyer points reward program or points you get on anything you get on a credit card. When you get these, you may ask, why does it take 500,000 points to fly to another city? It's because the points have gotten to where they're not worth anything. If you take the time to check, you will notice the more activities they give you points on, like going to a certain restaurant or filling up your car or something, the more points they give you, the more points you need in order to redeem for something. And that's what's happening to our monetary system in this country. The government is flooding the economy with dollars, which drives down the value of each dollar and drives up the cost of everything you buy, just like your frequent flyer reward points. All these monetary systems work in the same way. It's really very easy to understand. So when your card issuer says, hey, you get 10,000 points just for signing up or shopping at this store or whatever, and then you wonder why all the reward costs, the little things you want to get, go up that same 10,000 or even more points. Well, what you're seeing is what happens in a monetary system. Now, whether you want to admit this or not, admit that this is what's happening in our country, it really all depends on whether you want to live in a state of denial or not. The interesting thing is when you start warning people about this, everyone starts calling you Chicken Little, saying the sky is falling or some other wacko thing. Exactly, Tori. The evidence is starting to mount up, though. The question is, what are you going to do when the inevitable happens, when the dollar devalues, either through world markets or direct government intervention? What are you going to do then? Beg the government to provide you with whatever it is you cannot afford now? The government's not going to have any money, and printing more isn't going to work anymore. It's like spinning your tires when you're stuck in the snow. Just pouring more power isn't going to work. You're going to have to take a different approach. You're going to have to dig your car out of the ditch. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of us are going to have to do when the dollar takes its inevitable fall. All right, we're up on the first break of the Patrick Riggins Show. We have a lot to get to. We're going to talk about, we'll talk about Golden Boy Republican Marco Rubio in a way probably a lot of Republicans don't want to hear. Also talk some about guns and ammo and a couple other things going on this week here on the Patrick Riggins Show. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome back to the Patrick Riggins Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. Good words to live by. If you don't like the way I'm living, you just leave this long-haired country boy alone.
I've been saying that for years.
I don't have the hair to say that. Now you do, but I don't have.
I got the hair, and I was raised in Seymour, so
there you go.
I believe that would pretty much classify me as a long-haired country boy.
This was your national anthem.
No, it's Freebird.
Freebird, yes, exactly. Yeah, that is correct. All right. The only problem is we have too many people in this country who feel it is their duty to not leave you alone. They feel it is their duty to tell you what to do. And if you don't want to live the way they think you should, well, they're more than happy to pass a law mandating it. And this isn't a recent phenomenon. It has been going on since the founding of this country. The reason it has gotten out of hand lately is because we've allowed it to do so. We've stopped fighting in this country, all in the name of, quote, getting along. You hear it every time someone talks about Congress. They just need to work together or work with the president. Well, who says that? When have we ever in this country agreed on every single issue? We haven't. What working together means is increasing government's reach into American citizens' lives. So every time you hear a politician mention that, this getting along phrase, just know they're talking about working together to tell you what to do. That's all it means. Since this is what they mean by working together, I don't want them doing it. I mean, I'm more than happy to watch everyone in Washington fight each other and get nothing done. Because getting nothing done means they aren't passing more asinine laws and regulations which remove more of our freedom, infringing on our rights as citizens. Something I wanted to get to during this segment, kind of getting off that a little bit, it's this massive hysteria over Marco Rubio. The regular listeners to this show were tipped off to his agenda and real principles way back during the summer of last year. These guys are not hard to figure out. And I had Mr. Rubio pegged from the moment he started to become a prominent person in the Republican Party. I even talked about him on this very radio show, pointing out through his own words how he is a big government type of person, just like his fellow establishment Republicans. If you'd like to hear any of that, you can go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Patrick Riggin Show and just scroll down through there and you'll see where he's in one of the titles, Marco Rubio, and you'll find the shows on which I did reveal his true character. You can almost hear the Republicans, though, rejoicing over their pushing of Marco Rubio to the upper echelons of the party. You know, boy, we have these Hispanics now. Finally, we have someone who looks just like them and talks just like them. You know, those Democrats beat us to the punch with a black president, but we'll get the first Hispanic. They're more important anyway. The Hispanic population is growing faster than any other minority, so we got them now. Those people are so stupid, they'll vote for someone just because he looks like them. It doesn't matter on the issues. As long as they have a Hispanic name, we are set. They got to vote for us now. We have one of theirs on our team.
We got one!
Here's an idea, Republicans. How about just guaranteeing freedom? No, that won't work. Besides, they don't want freedom. They just want to be reelected. And however they have to do that, that's what they'll do. You can just hear them, that those brain-dead Hispanics have to vote for us now. That's all they want to see, someone like them as president. Is it me, or does that sound blatantly racist? Freedom and liberty won't win. We have to buy people off. We have to run someone who looks like them because they're too stupid to understand an idea like freedom and liberty. Besides, they're not used to having it anyway, right? So why bother making the argument? Won't ending the fruitless drug war help their home country more than anything? It would wreck the profits of the drug cartels. It would drastically lower the amount of violence in Mexico, and Central America for that matter, and here in America too. Much of that violence takes place in the inner city ghettos where these minorities live. So ending a drug war would put a huge dent in all the violence of those areas of town. Nope. Just run a Hispanic. Get as many votes of that group as we can, and then go out about our merry big government way. So, since we have a little time, I'd like to quickly address Mr. Rubio's remarks. He's a Hispanic, you know, and a Republican. And he was picked to give the Republican response to President Obama's State of the Union address this last week. Now, he started off in part with this statement.
But America's exceptional because we believe that every life at every stage is precious, and that everyone everywhere has a God-given right to go as far as their talents and hard work will take them.
Wrong, Mr. Hispanic Republican Rubio. America is exceptional because of freedom. Other countries believe that every life at every stage is precious. They also believe that everyone has a right to go as far as their talents and hard work will take them. But not many countries, including ours now, believe their citizens should be free to do as they wish as long as they are not infringing on another person's rights. That is the difference, Mr. Rubio. Sure, you're a first-generation American in your family, but you are falling right into the long line of government-knows-best politicians that we have had throughout our country's history. You are no different than any of the other big government types that are sold to us by the Washington establishment every year. And this next clip, Mr. Rubio, he's Hispanic. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he is. And he's also Republican. There's a rumor that he might be conservative as well. So I guess if he was gay, that would just about cover everything. But getting back to this, Mr. Rubio attempts to persuade you with some nice limited government talk. And as you soon will hear, that's really all it is talk.
More government isn't going to help you get ahead. It's going to hold you back. More government isn't going to create more opportunities. It's going to limit them. And more government isn't going to inspire new ideas, new businesses, and new private sector jobs. It's going to create uncertainty. Because more government breeds complicated rules and laws that small businesses can't afford to follow. Because more government raises taxes on employers who then pass the costs on to their employees through fewer hours, lower pay, and even layoffs. And because many government programs that claim to help the middle class often end up hurting them.
Doesn't that make you just feel all warm and fuzzy? He is talking about how government is not the answer. Just like the clips I played from Ronald Reagan's inaugural address last week on this show. He even adds to this to bolster his limited government argument, a government limited to the powers enumerated in the Constitution.
Now, does this mean that there's no role for government? Of course not. It plays a crucial part in keeping us safe, enforcing rules, and providing some security against the risks of modern life. But government's role is wisely limited by the Constitution, and it can't play its essential role when it ignores those limits.
Now we're starting to see what he really believes. He states that part of the government's role is providing some security against the risks of modern life. But then in the very next line, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Hispanic Rubio, did you note that he's Hispanic? The Republican establishment wants to be sure you know that. He's Hispanic and he's a Republican. But anyway, so he states part of the government's role is to provide some security against the risk of modern life. But in the very next breath says, but government's role is wisely limited by the Constitution, and it can't play its essential role when it ignores those limits. Oh, where in the Constitution, Mr. Rubio, does it state the government is to provide us security against the risks of modern life? Where was that? Oh, yeah, it's not in the Constitution. I guess that's not part of government's role then.
When we suggest we strengthen our safety net programs by giving states more flexibility to manage them, he accuses us of wanting to leave the elderly and the disabled to fend for themselves.
That's what he means. The old safety net programs mentioned in the Constitution. Can't seem to find that in there either. But wait a minute, Mr. Rubio. Here's what you just said.
But government's role is wisely limited by the Constitution, and it can't play its essential role when it ignores those limits.
So which is it? Are we going to have an unconstitutional safety net? Or are we going to limit government to what the Constitution specifies? You can't have it both ways.
Hard-working, middle-class Americans who don't need us to come up with a plan to grow the government. They need a plan to grow the middle class.
Isn't it interesting as we get more and more into Mr. Rubio's speech, you start to see how his solutions are really no different than the president's or the Democrats. More government. We don't need a plan to, quote, grow the middle class. What we need is a government to stop trying to manage our lives and let us do it ourselves. The government cannot grow anything. All it can do is get it in the way. These are the types of people we're dealing with. The Republicans, Democrats, they are all big government people. What I find fascinating is how I see libertarian-leaning Republicans pinning their hopes on this guy just because the establishment says he can win, even though he is standing here telling you he wants the government to solve all these problems and that he thinks government is the answer. Yet there are those in the Republican Party who will ignore all of this. Now, I don't know if it's blind loyalty or ignorance or a lack of self-confidence or maybe being taught to believe whatever a so-called expert tells you. All right, we're up on the half-hour break here on the Patrick Riggins Show. We get here so quickly because we pack so much into a show. It's like concentrated Tide or Clorox or something like that.
It's concentrated goodness.
Concentrated goodness, exactly.
Yes.
You don't need as much, but it's all right in there.
And it's all good.
And it is all good. This is the Patrick Reagan Show. We'll be back after this bottom of the hour break.
Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Reagan Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome back to the smooth sounds of the Patrick Reagan Show.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Good times.
Good times here on NPR.
Patrick, you're special to me.
Wow. I think we'll turn that off.
Good times.
That's doing things to Tori.
Good times. I like Ambrosia.
Ambrosia's good. I heard this song this week, and I thought on a, well, it's on another radio station that plays music, so it's not really a competition for us.
Yeah.
So, but
The Hog.
The Hog, yes. Kind of a station known as a pig station.
There's Ambrosia the food.
Yes, that was Food of the Gods.
It wasn't that the marshmallow with the fruit in it.
Fruit in everything. I think it's
whipped cream. I'm sorry, the whipped cream with the fruit.
The Greeks or the Romans, one of them thought it was Food of the Gods.
Good times.
Somebody out there is going, "No, you idiot."
This is the exciting part of the show.
Yes. This is when the show gets going.
Anyway,
we're going to take calls to dedicate songs to your love.
because I think the phone lines are down again.
Yeah. Well, we jam these phone lines anyway, so that's just what happens when you have a show of this caliber. Magnitude. All right. We're back here on the Patrick Reagan Show. We left off talking about the golden boy, Marco Rubio. You know, he's Hispanic. I don't know if you picked up on that or not, but he is. And he's also Republican. And he's supposedly conservative. That's what they say. I think we're disproving that right now. But anyway, getting back to his speech, I want to hit this a little bit more before I let it go. What he's talking about here is, and we kind of left off with this, I want you to listen to how we need to grow things in this country. And when he uses the word we, he means government, of course. But here we go.
If we can grow our energy industry, it will make us energy independent. It will create middle-class jobs, and it will help bring manufacturing back from places like China.
So we need to grow our energy industry.
We can also help grow our economy if we have a legal immigration system.
We need to grow our economy. And we do that, apparently, through solving our immigration problems.
Helping the middle class grow will also require an education system that gives people the skills today's jobs entail and the knowledge that tomorrow's world will require.
So, in addition to all of this, we're also going to keep our governmental noses in the education system. Because having government in that industry has helped make it a world leader, right? Sure it has.
We need to incentivize local school districts to offer more advanced placement courses and more vocational and career training. And we need to give all parents, especially the parents of children with special needs, the opportunity to send their children to the school of their choice. And because college tuition costs have grown so fast, we need to change the way we pay for higher education.
All of that could be solved very easily. Get the government out of education. Simple. Let private schools educate our children. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. Well, really, I do. It would remove that education system from the government bureaucracy, which is unacceptable to a government knows best guy like Mr. Rubio.
Now, I believe in federal financial aid. I couldn't have gone to college without it.
Of course you do, Mr. Rubio. You delight in having taxpayers' hard-earned money spent to educate someone else. Now, where is that in the Constitution, Mr. Rubio?
But government's role is wisely limited by the Constitution, and it can't play its essential role when it ignores those limits.
Federal financial aid is an example of ignoring the limits of the Constitution, isn't it? So, did you not believe that statement when you made it a few minutes ago, Mr. Rubio? You just stated you believe in federal financial aid. But that is outside the limits of the Constitution. Oh, wait a minute, I get it. You only think the government should be limited by the Constitution when it doesn't affect you or your situation. I see. So you're really no different than any other of the hypocritical members of Congress and the government. So surely this is the only program Mr. Rubio will be taking advantage of, federal student loans, even though they are not in the Constitution. If we are taking part in, well, I don't know, other unconstitutional programs, then how can we really put any stock in anything this man says?
One of these programs is Medicare. It's especially important to me. It provided my father the care he needed to battle cancer and ultimately to die with dignity. And it pays for the care my mother receives right now.
Okay. Another unconstitutional program Mr. Rubio thinks we need to keep. Now, let's see. What did he say about that again? Oh, I've got it right here.
But government's role is wisely limited by the Constitution, and it can't play its essential role when it ignores those limits.
Ah, but ignoring a limit when it involves your mom or dad, that's okay then, right, Mr. Rubio? He's Hispanic and Republican. Just want to put that back in. How can he stand here and give this speech with a straight face? No wonder he had to pause and drink some water during it. His mouth was getting dry with all the lying, the half-truths, and outright hypocrisy. He knows he doesn't believe in limited government. Just look at what he's doing. He is participating in all these unconstitutional programs, things he just stated the government shouldn't be doing, yet he does them.
Instead, we should grow our economy so that we can create new taxpayers, not new taxes. And so our government can afford to help those who truly cannot help themselves.
So the solution is more people paying taxes, not less taxes, not less spending, not less government programs. Nope, we need more people paying taxes. How is this really that different than what the president is preaching? And again, we, the government, need to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. I'm sorry, Mr. Rubio, I don't know what Constitution you're using, what version you have, but mine, the American version, doesn't have anything like what you're talking about.
And the truth is, every problem can't be solved by the government. Many are caused by the moral breakdown in our society. And the answer to these challenges lie primarily in our families and our faiths, not our politicians.
If every problem cannot be solved by the government, then why are you trying to do it anyway, Mr. Rubio? Your whole speech has been one of the government needs to do this and the government needs to do that. You don't believe the limited government argument you're making. If you did, you wouldn't want government sticking its nose in everyone's business. By the way, family values didn't make this country strong. No, and church attendance, that didn't do it either. It was freedom. Freedom and liberty. From these two things spring all these other benefits. You used to have stronger families because they had to depend on each other, help each other out. You couldn't go to the government because it wasn't providing handouts. The Constitution doesn't allow it. So family members have to help each other out. And this is what builds strong families. This is what made this country great. Strong families, strong communities. On a little bit bigger scale, strong communities are built when families help other families out. Again, because government isn't intruding into our communities, trying to knock out the charities and private individuals who are seeking to help others. Government destroys all of that. We have politicians bemoaning the fact we don't have these strong family units and strong local communities when they are the very ones who have destroyed them and are still destroying them, while the whole time telling us we aren't doing well as a country anymore. Like it isn't the government's fault, it's the media's fault, or it's Hollywood's fault. If you want to really know where to lay the blame, it ultimately falls on our backs, the citizens of this country, because we're allowing our government to run roughshod over us, over our Constitution, and over our freedom and liberty. I'm getting to where I say this on every show. We were here first, then we create the states, then we create the government. That means the buck stops with us. If we would take an active role in managing our government, we wouldn't be having these problems. The government only gets away with what we let it. If we sit out here and let it do what it wants to do, should we be surprised when it acts like a spoiled child when we try to rein it in, when it throws these temper tantrums? All right, we're up on the last break of the Patrick Riggins Show. When we come back, we'll try to get a couple of things here, cram it all in this last segment. Some stuff about guns and ammo and the Supreme Court, and we'll see what all we get to. This is Patrick Riggins. We'll be back after these messages.
Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome back to the Patrick Riggins Show. Well, we've had a full show. I'm Patrick Riggins. I'm not Hispanic, and I'm not a Republican. How about you, Tori? You're not Hispanic or Republican?
No, I'm neither.
Yeah. But
Last time I checked.
You know who is? Marco Rubio.
I've not heard that. They've
Have you
not
not?
mentioned. Nobody's mentioned that.
He is Hispanic.
They've not mentioned it on the news or anything.
He's the savior. He is going to get them into the presidential office. That's who they're going to ride on the back of.
Uh-huh.
And then they'll have theirs.
Can he beat Hillary Clinton, though?
Doesn't matter. He's Hispanic. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if he's a communist or socialist. He's Hispanic, and daggone it, we've got him in the Republican Party. That's all that matters.
Hell, we got, a little bit less than 4 years to make plans to...
Yeah. To sit there and wait for the inevitable transition of power from one socialist big government person to the next socialist big government person.
Maybe Cuba will turn into a tourist mecca by then. And
I tell you what, if I was running Cuba, that's what I would do. I would open a bunch of hospitals down there so everyone who doesn't want to participate in Obamacare can come down there, and I would open casinos, and that place would just be printing their own money down there.
Yeah. I still don't understand why we have an embargo against them from the Kennedy years.
Because we must punish them.
I don't.
That's why.
That's over my head, I guess.
Well, I tell you, the day they do something like that, like I said, they put in some hospitals, let some doctors, top flight doctors, come down there and buy some big houses, and
it's 75 miles from
not
the United
90.
States. 90
miles. Run a ferry.
It's swimmable.
Run a ferry from there to the Keys.
You can swim it.
Or run a ferry from there up to Miami. Yeah. And you would have people flocking down there for operations. Just, whatever, heart transplants, whatever they'd be doing. Anyway, let's see. I want to hit this real quick here in this last segment. And some of you guys may have heard of this, and some of you may have not. The conservatives and Tea Partiers, people a little closer to us, they plan to reignite the flame of 2010 next Saturday, February 23rd, at rallies in cities and towns across America. The event is titled the Day of Resistance, and you can get more information about it at www.dayofresistance.com. And more than 50,000 Americans have signed up for 97 rallies in more than 30 states across the country. The rallies will focus on Second Amendment issues and President Obama's push for gun control. But they will also branch out into all aspects of oppressive big government. Boy, that'll be a full day. They really need about a month for that. According to a story from Breitbart.com, head organizer Dustin Stockton says the main hook is Second Amendment defense and executive actions by Obama. At the same time, we feel like the GOP establishment, their establishment argument on guns is that this is all crazy talk, what you're hearing doesn't matter, and they're not going to actually come take your guns away. Stockton claimed the average law-abiding gun owner believes the president is seriously pushing for gun control, among other left-wing policies. No, really? Almost said something there. Yeah.
Don't make me use this dump button. We would have to talk after the show.
Oh, but anyway, and the average law-abiding gun owner cannot stand the establishment GOP's unwillingness to fight back. However, guns are not the only issue that has conservatives upset. The gun control fight is a new launching pad for a bigger discussion, similar to how Obamacare sparked the Tea Party movement beginnings in 2009. The column goes on, we think that gives us an opportunity to talk about how Obamacare is affecting people's personal privacy and all the other issues the Tea Party movement has to talk about, Stockton said. We'll talk about overregulation, bailouts, crony capitalism, Benghazi, and Fast and Furious. Yeah, you can't get all that done in one day. I can't get it all done, over a period of shows.
They can't even decide what they want for lunch in one day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know. These guys get together. They get kind of PO'd, so maybe they'll just say, here's your food and shut up. This is what we're going to talk about. All right, those interested in getting involved can either find a rally near them on the Day of Resistance website. Again, that's dayofresistance.com. Or they can sign up to create their own event in their own town or city. You have three options, Mr. Stockton said. You can sign up to attend a rally, you can sign up to volunteer, or you can sign up to organize your own rally. Hint, hint. Stockton also has a political action committee, Western Representation, PAC, that is spending $25,000 from its cash reserves on the rallies, in addition to money they have raised for the events. He said about $9,000 has come in so far in addition to that. The TeaParty.net is sponsoring the events as well. They also have financial support if people need to pay for insurance, stages, or whatever. So if you're getting tired of listening to me bug you about getting involved, here is a good first step on the road to getting me off your back. Anyway, Stockton hopes the new rallies can begin to rekindle the 2010 conservative magic. He says, for me, my big life-changing event was my first Tea Party rally. I wasn't politically active. I had all the conservative ideas, but I went to college in Eugene, Oregon, so I kind of learned to keep them mostly to myself. Probably a good idea. Get you a better grade in college anyway. But when I physically went and saw the massive number of people who felt like I did, there was an inspiration level that drove me and everyone else all the way through 2010. That feeling of community really generates a level of enthusiasm and volunteerism that we just didn't see in 2012. Exactly. We're dropping the ball because too many people feel like, hey, I tried, I attended some rallies, I voted in 2010, but nothing's changed. And you're right, nothing is going to change unless you stick with it. So if you're looking for something to do next Saturday, there you go. And if you go to that website and there's not something going on here locally, well, then by all means, get out there and get a rally organized and do something. Heck, if it's only 20 of you, that's still a good first step. This isn't a do it once and we're done type of thing. This is going to take years of work. We didn't get to this point in this country overnight, so it's going to take a little longer than that to turn it around. That is, unless we get a massive groundswell of people working to elect good conservative and libertarian people. If we did that, we'd make a lot of progress in getting this place turned around. So we running up on the end here, Tori? Getting there. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap up the show then here. You're listening to the Patrick Riggins Show right here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. If you want more information about us, you can go to facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. That's RIGGINS, Patrick Riggins Show. Also, be sure and hit the like button there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Patrick Riggins. And you can go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. I want to thank everyone for listening this week. And be sure to join me next Sunday afternoon where once again we'll talk about freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. This is Patrick Riggins, and we'll see you next Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Have a great week.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on The Patrick Riggins Show. Every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Be there.